Hello and welcome back to Grape Juice, the show where we talk till we get the pulp of our topics. My name is Sanaya Gary, and today we will be deep diving into the power of navigating your dreams, or if you're looking for my interpretation. So, welcome to today's episode, and the title for today's episode is Remembering the Wonders Within You. Today, I am joined by none other than the poetically driven youth organizer and leading nonprofit specialist, Miss Charmaine McMurray. She has shined bright with organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club, Podium RVA, and her own entrepreneurial outlets as Word of Mouth. So how are you doing today, Miss Charmaine?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on this. I'm very excited to talk about the topic today. And just honored. So thank you.
Yes, and I'm so thankful that you agreed and that you're here this afternoon and that we're going to have a fantastic time talking to each other and diving more into today's topic. And for those who don't know, today's topic is remembering the wonders within you, which is just understanding keen ways that you make sure that you are staying true to who you are and reliving and or satisfying the inner child within you. So in order to dive into that, let's first talk about childhood throwbacks and ways in which you're giving back to your future self through gifts or nostalgic media. So if you don't mind, could you tell us some ways in which you stay true to your childhood self or see things from the past that come back up in certain ways?
Yeah, so for me, tapping back into anime is one of the ways that I like to reconnect with my younger self.
Mm-hmm.
Watching old shows that I grew up on, or even discovering new ones, brings me the same excitement that I used to feel as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really more than entertainment. It's to me, it's a form of self care and just a reminder of a time in my life where everything was just okay, and I just had to permission to just be.
Right.
When I give myself time for those little throwbacks, I feel like I'm giving my future self the gift of joy and creativity, and most importantly, a emotional reset. So, watching throwback anime shows, it's a way that I stay grounded in who I am, without losing, that childhood version of myself. So,
Yes, and I love that. And anime is definitely something that keeps me grounded as well. And then I remember watching. I know for me, ways that I try to stay keen to my childhood self is through inanimate objects. I love very chuggy and exaggerated items like phone cases that look like phones, like
mhm,
old style phones. I like costumes. I love playing dress up. I like
mhm.
having headbands and bright colors, which are things that growing up I could have and were obtainable for me, but having parents that weren't very used to hyper feminine items, I didn't really get to live out or utilize those things as much as I really wanted.
It was just like a sense of ease. And if I can recall on another thing, it would be just going outside. That was kind of one of my highlights as a kid, especially after school, just being outside on the playground or just being in nature and enjoying the things that were around me in that moment. And I continue to do those things today with my walks, my runs, or going down to Belle Isle just to go for a walk or to read my book. I was a really big reader as well as a kid. So yeah, I think that I kind of like wrap all of those things up into like one nice present for myself now when I need those reminders and those moments of just being grounded and being who I am. So yeah.
Yes, and that's so good. I'm glad that you have those moments that keep you grounded. And speaking of things that you do now to keep you grounded, while doing those things, I understand, or we both understand that life definitely will continue to life, and There will be times where you have to make sacrifices, whether that's adult sacrifices or sacrifices for the betterment of oneself. And so, what are some ways in which you choose to manage what you want and what you can afford, whether that's mentally, environmentally, financially,
Mhm.
self care wise, things in which you have to make adult sacrifices, and what are ways that you overcome those or how you navigate that in today's day?
Yeah. So, being an adult sometimes means constantly choosing between the things that I want and the things that I can realistically manage.
Mm-hmm.
There are days when I want to do it all. I want to travel. I want to treat myself. I want to pursue every dream that I have. But I have to be honest about what I can afford with my time, my energy, and my money realistically. And it's frustrating sometimes, but I remind myself that these sacrifices aren't permanent. And I'm just learning how to move smarter, not harder. And as long as I'm intentional with my choices, I know that I'm still moving toward the life that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And just to speak more specifically about those sacrifices, um, there were times when I was a child, like we talked about, where I can be outside for hours, right? No worries, no due dates, no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have learned how to build in those moments of grounding for myself within my day. So, for an example, I really love to go for walks. They ground me. So, what I do is I make a decision to wake up early. I might be sacrificing my sleep sometimes. And it really just depends on where my energy is, right? If I need to sleep in longer, I would. But
Mm-hmm.
those days where I have a little bit of extra energy, I will wake up early. I will make time for myself before the world starts. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm blessed to have a career and a job where it works and it's flexible with my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So even on lunch breaks, if I feel like I need a reset or if I'm just overwhelmed with work, I will utilize my lunch break to go outside or for walks. And then even after work, I set intentional time into doing the things that I want to do after work. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the sacrifices, again, I just remind myself that whatever it is that I am sacrificing is not permanent. And 9 times out of 10, the thing that I am sacrificing, either I need to let it go to reach the life that I want, um, or I'm making sacrifices to make myself feel better in the moment. So, to recap this answer, I just remind myself it's not permanent. I build in the times that I need to, I manage it correctly. Um, and, I'm just realistic and honest about what I can give and what my capacity is.
Our sponsor today is BetterHelp Services, Counseling Services, and if you use my code, you can get 20% off your first consultation. BetterHelp is a mental health platform that offers online and direct phone line services for individuals in need of therapy. Who knew online counseling could be so easy? Now you can skip the hassle of struggling to find the right therapist for you. And BetterHelp offers personalized tests to help you navigate what you want in a therapist while also providing key certified counselors that are there for your personal needs. No need to go through without having someone to talk to anymore. Sign up today and use my code for 20% off your first consultation with a therapist that suits you and your needs on BetterHelp.com. What are some ways that you are patient with yourself or patient for your future and believing in yourself and using your patience to guide you throughout life?
Yeah. So having patience with myself and my future hasn't always come easy, Sanaya.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments when I feel like I should be further along, doing
Mm-hmm.
more, achieving more, figuring everything out. But I've realized that rushing the process only leads to burnout and disappointment. And these days, I'm learning to just slow down and trust that everything is unfolding the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I remind myself that just because I can't see results right away doesn't mean that the work I'm putting in isn't adding up. And
Mm-hmm.
progress isn't always loud or visible, which is kind of frustrating sometimes. But it's in the consistency and the small wins and the fact that I'm still showing up for myself. Patient for me is a form of self-respect. Um, it's choosing to believe in my own timing, even when things feel uncertain. And I don't have all of the answers, but I do have faith in who I'm becoming. And I feel like that's enough to keep going. And, some ways that I have to utilize patience with myself is, again, realizing that I don't have to rush the process. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we get caught up in the ways we think that things should be. And sometimes we get caught up in everybody else's standards. And like I said, patience is a form of self respect. And I have to keep reminding myself that I'm showing up on my own timeline. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing for my own life. And, even when I was a child, I talked a lot. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
my thing, using my voice. And I noticed that, a lot of people didn't have patience for that. And that's exactly why I started my business, Word of Mouth, to create a platform where not only I can express how I feel using words, but other local artists and community leaders could use that space to do the same exact thing. um and within doing that business, I learned that everybody just needs a little bit of patience. Everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody deserves moments of stillness and slowness and
Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning into the episode. For further information on the episodes of this podcast, we want to thank you for listening and have a great day.